Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim. And that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
Man.
Hello, Disney. You're going to have to redo your film again because this woman is a pig and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable.
I think it's fair to say that no one can stand the star of this movie.
And you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie, and I believe it.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Never revisited Snow White again. So I watched it for the first time in probably 16, 17 years.
Rachel Zegler just vanished. No red carpets, no press tours, no social media, just gone. And what's even more shocking, it happened right after Disney allegedly demanded she pay up for one of the studio's biggest box office disasters in years. Coincidence? Not a chance.
And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
This isn't just about a failed movie. This is about a rising star who went from Hollywood's next big thing to the face of Disney's most expensive PR disaster. And now insiders say she might be dodging more than the media. She could be running from legal trouble, brand implosions, and a storm she helped ignite. But how did we get here? How did Rachel Zegler go from the darling of West Side Story to the woman at the center of a multi-million-dollar controversy? Let's rewind.
I win. The winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her.
Not long ago, Rachel Zegler was everywhere. Cast as Snow White in Disney's high-profile remake, she was being primed for stardom. This was supposed to be a career-defining role, one that would cement her as the face of a new generation of Disney. But as the promotional tour began, things took a sharp turn. Instead of praising the legacy of Snow White, Zegler openly criticized the 1937 original. She called the prince a stalker, dismissed the idea of a love story, and declared that this version would be about a leader who doesn't dream of true love.
And we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
Not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Fans were confused. Critics were outraged. Disney diehards felt insulted. And Zegler? She doubled down. Then came the release. Disney poured hundreds of millions into the Snow White remake, and the returns were catastrophic. Some estimates say the movie could lose the studio up to $250 million. It flopped in China, it tanked in the US, and even international markets couldn't save it.
Snow White, budget $250 million, box office $43 million. Oh, but it's only been 2 days, give it a chance. No, I'm not gonna give it a chance. I'm not even talking about that number. Because all the flops are unsurprising at this point. Something is going on behind the scenes with almost every major animation, video game, and movie studio that they're doing this intentionally or something. I don't know. I'm not even gonna talk about this. People are like, oh wow, Snow White flopped. Who is surprised? You cast arguably the least genuine, most out of touch, and disliked person in her industry, and her industry is Hollywood. And the bad guy is Gal Gadot.
But this wasn't just a failed film, it was a full-on culture war. Zegler's controversial comments turned off huge segments of the audience. Her press tour went viral for all the wrong reasons. And Disney? They were reportedly furious. Then, out of nowhere, Rachel vanished. She boarded a flight overseas and touched down in Dubai, completely dropping off the radar. No interviews, no sightings, no new posts. Her itinerary was scrubbed. Her online presence vanished, and insiders started whispering, what is she running from? Was this just a PR break? Or something more strategic?
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it. All right. Congrats, Rachel.
Behind closed doors, Disney was allegedly in full damage control mode. Executives reportedly held emergency meetings, asking whether Zegler's interviews and behavior violated parts of her contract, especially the morality clauses common in big-budget deals. Some even suggested Disney might try to claw back bonuses, or pursue partial reimbursement for the film's failure. And Zegler's sudden disappearance? It happened right after those meetings. Amid the backlash, an apology appeared on Zegler's social media, but fans weren't buying it. The language was too polished, too safe, more like a press release than a personal post. Many believed the apology wasn't written by Rachel at all, but crafted by Disney's crisis PR team. What was supposed to be an olive branch only fueled the fire. Fans called it robotic, corporate, and insincere. And worse, it didn't make her any more likable.
Alex, what has been the reaction to Disney's latest expensive own goal?
Well, the reaction has been absolutely horrible. It is the worst box office from a Disney live action remake that they've ever.
This woman shown here is not the actual woman playing Snow White, but the woman playing Snow White is named Rachel Zegler. And she and Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, were caught on the red carpet. This is actually from September of 2022, but it's resurfaced now because the movie's coming out, talking about what we should expect from Snow White.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Oh my God.
Nobody
Who wants a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? The outrage.
Insiders claim Zegler has been devastated behind the scenes, crying, overwhelmed, and unsure how things spiraled so fast. Just months earlier, she was being lined up for more Disney roles, franchise spin-offs, and potential blockbuster projects. Now, producers are allegedly pulling back, wary of the controversy she brings. Some within her own team are split, half pushing for a redemption arc, the other half recommending she lay low for years. Either way, the damage has been done.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
You know, what's really interesting about this is not that this is something new. Rachel Zegler has been doing this for a very long time.
I mean, they're projected to lose between 2 and 400 million on this.
The thing that really shocks me about this story, you know, Disney and all these media companies, they invest hundreds of millions of dollars into these projects, right? Have they ever thought about maybe like a little bit of like, I don't know, vulnerability study, opposition research, that sort of thing before you go and hire some Zoomer who's a lunatic?
But here's where it gets complicated. Some argue that Rachel Zegler is being unfairly scapegoated, that Disney's aggressive push for a modernized Snow White and its lack of clear marketing set the film up to fail, that the script, the direction, the creative decisions were already doomed before Rachel ever sat in a press chair. But others say no, she burned this franchise with her own words. Her repeated digs at the original film, her political posts, and her unapologetic tone made her a lightning rod for controversy. She didn't just alienate fans, she enraged them. And Disney, in the end, had to choose between protecting their legacy or protecting their lead actress. Guess which one they picked?
All right, guys, I watched Snow White, so you don't have to. Let's get into it. Now, first things first, Snow White gets her name not from the fairness of her skin, as we obviously know. Rachel Zegler would be a miscast in that sense. Instead, she gets her name from surviving a snowstorm. Her father and mother are king and queen to a utopian communist society. I'm not joking, guys. Everybody shares and is mindful of what each person is getting, and we spread our resources evenly, which is where this idea of fairness, as Snow White is the fairest of them all, is really presented in the film.
Rachel Zegler has now been off the grid for weeks. No new appearances, no statements, no activity. Her social media team has gone quiet. No one close to her has spoken up. Some believe she's under strict legal guidance to stay silent, especially if negotiations or lawsuits are underway behind the scenes. Others think she's simply overwhelmed, burnt out, retreating from the spotlight she once chased. But one thing is certain, the longer she stays quiet, the louder the questions become. Social media didn't hold back. Clips from Zegler's interviews spread like wildfire, edited into reaction videos, fan commentary breakdowns, and even parody skits that mocked her tone. Hashtags like #BoycottSnowWhite and #NotMySnowWhite began trending worldwide. What might have been framed as a bold reinterpretation of a classic was now being labeled as disrespectful, arrogant, and out of touch. Even longtime Disney fans felt personally slighted. Rachel's comments about working 18 hours a day in the Snow White dress and needing to be paid for every hour only made it worse.
Every time she speaks, she gets less likable. There's some clip of her on the internet in her Snow White outfit saying, every hour I am in the outfit of Snow White wearing the dress. All 18 hours, I deserve to be paid for every single one. Oh, really? Are you having trouble paying your bills, Rachel? Did Steven Spielberg not pay you for your role in West Side Story? Did Disney fail to give you a healthy paycheck for, like, cry me a river? She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed on.
She was now seen as ungrateful, elitist, entitled, and it didn't matter how good her acting was. Public opinion had already turned. This wasn't just Rachel's problem anymore. It became Disney's nightmare. The studio was already under fire for recent box office misses and political missteps. The Snow White disaster added gasoline to that fire. Insiders later revealed that Disney did little to no opposition research on Zegler before casting her. They didn't dig through her old posts. They didn't test her interview presence. And they didn't anticipate the backlash. It was $1 billion blind spot.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Now the damage is extending well past the studio. Industry insiders say other productions are quietly pulling back from Zegler. Her name is no longer circulating in casting meetings the way it was months ago. Some executives allegedly describe her as radioactive. She brings too much baggage, too much risk. In today's ultra-sensitive industry, that's a career killer. Even if she doesn't deserve all the blame, the perception is what matters. And right now, that perception is toxic. Adding another layer to this mess? Politics. Old tweets from Zegler resurfaced, including one that mocked Trump supporters. Suddenly, the controversy wasn't just about a film, it was about ideology. For a company like Disney, which depends on family-friendly appeal and global markets, this was a PR nightmare. Audiences were split, lines were drawn, and Zegler, once a symbol of modern inclusivity, had become a symbol of division. As the firestorm intensified, Zegler went dark. No follow-up apology, no clarifications, no interviews, not even a selfie. Some say she's hiding under legal advice. Others think she's emotionally spiraling. There are even rumors she left the US to avoid being served legal papers. Though nothing has been confirmed, what is clear? Her silence is deafening. And in today's digital age, silence doesn't just leave space for healing, it creates a vacuum. One that gets filled with rumors, theories, and speculation. This isn't just celebrity gossip anymore. The outcome of this story could reshape how studios manage talent, how stars handle backlash, and how brands navigate controversy in a hyper-connected world. If Zegler makes a comeback, it'll take more than a polished apology. It'll take humility, strategy, and perfect timing. If she doesn't, she might fade into obscurity, remembered more for the scandal than the performance. And for Disney, this could be the wake-up call they didn't know they needed. Whether you believe she's misunderstood or mishandled her spotlight, Rachel Zegler's downfall is a masterclass in how fast things unravel when public trust is broken. The silence, the outrage, the disappearance. It's all part of a bigger story, one that's still unfolding. So what do you think? Is Rachel hiding something, or just trying to survive one of the worst PR storms in modern entertainment? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more celebrity drama, insider scandals, and the stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear. Because this one, it's far from over.